All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome inside Paycor Stadium. Paul Jr., Jay Morrison here with you. And we are going to talk a little bit of Bengals, Steelers, everything that you need to know to get you ready for the game on Sunday at Acrisure Stadium, 1 o'clock. Isn't it great?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sunday at 1. We're down there. CBS will have the call. Your guy, everyone's guy, should be your guy. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins on the call. Bengals are 3-6, Steelers 5-4. Steelers 1 game up in the AFC North. It could feel very different after this game. Who knows? BetMGM line in this one, Steelers favored by 5.5 with an over-under of 49. I always ask you this, but what do you think? You like that?
I mean, I would bet the over on the Bengals every game for the rest of the year. I'm sure it's going to keep climbing. 50 is the record in a Bengals-Steelers game in history. I think Pro Football Reference goes back to 79 on those over-under lines, but 50 is the high point, and they're right at 49.5. It could go up before kickoff.
We'll see what happens with all that. I'm with you. I think live the over till the end of days. Weather doesn't look like we're going to get. I feel like every time we go to Pittsburgh, we always feel like, okay, it's going to be -8 degrees. We're going to do the cold walk up to our cars. Not having to worry about this time. At 46 degrees, looks like the game time temp, partly cloudy, 15% chance of rain for this one. Bengals uniform watch, Jay. They're pulling out the orange pants, orange britches game. What do we think about that?
It's not been very lucky. 2 and 5 were in orange pants. This specific combo, white jerseys, orange pants, white socks, they're 1 and 2 in this combo. V1 win, week 18 last year in Pittsburgh.
Replicate it, baby. the anti open in orange game. You go with the one that's won before. That would be the one in Pittsburgh. So last time the Steelers played, they were in Los Angeles, getting run out the building by the Chargers 25-10. So there's a little bit of chaos happening in the Steel City right now. They've lost a bunch of games. People can feel the wheels coming off. We had Mike Tomlin kind of taking a little bit of a shot at Aaron Rodgers after the way he played last game. You know, teams tend to get right against the Bengals. And so I have a feeling in Pittsburgh that offense might be thinking, let's go get right. Of course, right back behind us on this field just a few weeks ago, it was the Bengals beating the Steelers 33-31 on Thursday Night Football. The Bengals have now won 2 in a row in this series. Mike Tomlin, Jay, has more wins than any coach in the history of this league against the Cincinnati Bengals. He is 26-10 all time. He's only lost 3 in a row to them 1 time in his coaching history. That was at the end of 2020 through the 21 season. The Bengals pulled off 3 in a row at that point. So they're going to try to replicate that.
Ryan Finley game.
Ryan Finley.
That kicked off that run.
It did kick off that run, and then the 2021 season took it from there. Let's talk about injuries and news. We've got a few prominent names on the injury report.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson not going to play. No surprise there. Shamar Stewart not going to play. No surprise there. Where's the pass rush come from? We will see.
Where does it ever come from?
Doesn't look like Samaje Perine's going to play either. So heavy game for Chase Brown. Don't know that Taj Brooks, the rookie, is going to be in there a lot against trying to pass protect against that Pittsburgh defense. So those are the big ones to look out for with the Bengals. And it's no surprise. Shamar and Trey didn't practice all week. It was trending toward this all week. Big spot. I wrote about him earlier in the week, Cedric Johnson. I think that guy is giving him some juice. Some people were kind of – I wrote how he had 5 pressures in the last 3 games last year. Only one guy on the team this year has had more than 5 pressures in a 3-game span, and that was Trey. He had 8 in weeks 1 and 2. But then you go back and you look, Cedric Johnson's 5 pressures in those final 3 games came on 26 snaps. All the guys that have had 5 or fewer there this year, it's been 120 snaps, 100 snaps. Even Trey Hendrickson, 124 snaps those first 2 weeks. So it's about as a wind right now. He just came back. He had 1 padded practice before he played in that game the last game they played. He's playing a ton on special teams. Be really interesting to see how much they lean into him and if he starts stealing some snaps from Myles Murphy.
Of all the Bengals with at least 60 pass rush snaps in the last 2 years, Trey Hendrickson is tops, as you might imagine, in pressure percentage. Second,
Said
Cedric Johnson,
Yeah.
12.5%. And that's a top 50 in the NFL. Granted, small sample size alert on that one, but considering the state of things, definitely time for a big sample size on Cedric Johnson. At least he gives you some sense of hope. Referee report, Jay. Let's get into it. What really matters.
Yeah, it's Bill Benovich. It's a name everybody should know. He's been a referee since 2004. He actually, I don't know why this is, but he took a hiatus from 2007 to 11. But he's done 18 Bengals games in the past. The Bengals are 8-10 with him as the referee. 3 of the last 4 games he's worked have gone to overtime, which is kind of a weird. The last one was here, week 5 last year against Baltimore. The AFC Championship game overtime win in Kansas City was a Bill Benovich game. He and his crew are averaging 14.4 penalties per game. That's 5th in the league. That's up from where he was before last week, because he worked the Thursday night game between the Broncos and Raiders with 22 penalties. So hopefully we don't see that on Sunday.
Nobody wants to see that. Excellent referee. I like when the big names show up. The big names. An overtime thing, for those of you that are sitting here, you're in your BetMGM app right now. You're like, overtime odds. There you go. There's a little nugget to get you going there. Let's get into, speaking of nuggets and stats, stat that matters most for you in this one, Jay.
I'm going to go across the board, and I'm going to say TJ Watt entries on the stat report. There have been games where he hasn't even showed up on there because the Bengals double team him. They just go away from him. The pressures aren't on the stat report, but quarterback hits are. Passes defensed, tackles, obviously, sacks. If that whole thing, if the Bengals can hold that to 5 or fewer, you like their chances. He's a guy that just can absolutely wreck a game. And the Bengals have done a pretty good job of not taking him out, but just going away from him and just say, we're not going to let that guy beat us. And I think that's going to have to be the plan again. And Joe Flacco did a really good job of it. It's not just Joe Burrow learning that on the fly, or not on the fly, but through all his time facing TJ Watt. And Flacco obviously has some history with Watt too, but they did a good job the last 2 times they faced him of really kind of neutralizing him.
I would look under that FF category.
Forced fumbles, another one.
That's the one where you always seem to see TJ Watt make the most impactful play. For me, Jay, we were talking about this before we started recording here. I was like, I just feel like this is one where you cannot fall behind early in that place, in that building. It can get so raucous that defense can really feed on that. And though, how many times have the Bengals ever gone up there and been down at halftime and won? And you were like, well, let me tell you, okay, they are 3-33 all time when trailing at halftime in Pittsburgh. Those 3 games, they were all, when they actually came back and won, they were all only trailing by 3 points in those years, 2022, 2015, and 2009. Anything sound familiar about a common thread with those 3 seasons? Those were 3 really good teams that ended up winning the division. This team, not a really good team like those teams were. You can't go up there and think that you're going to be able to come back and have to drop back against this pass rush all day and win. We have seen that turn absolutely ugly in Pittsburgh over the years. It could again if they put themselves in that position. I'm not saying they have to have a lead or don't keep it close. If you can keep it even or have a little bit of a lead at halftime, that feels like a game they can go and replicate what they did here. But if you fall behind early, it can just unravel so fast. We've seen it time and again over the years, particularly with bad Bengals teams in Pittsburgh. So I'm keeping that one as my stat that matters most. Growler bet this week. We are doing what everybody's thinking about and what people are sick of having to count up, and that is missed tackles. How many missed tackles will there be combined between the Bengals and the Steelers on Sunday? They are the 2 worst teams in the league for missed tackles. The last game, it was the Bengals with 13 and the Steelers with 9 via the Sport Radar number, which is the official counting number. Don't go show me PFF and what they said, or you saw something, or you watched yourself and you grinded the tape and telling us we were wrong. We're going by whatever Sport Radar tells us on this to get the total amount. I mean, the Bengals have 109.
109. The Steelers have 81. They're the 2 worst teams in the league.
Absolutely awful. Okay. Well, so send your submissions to the Growler Podcast at gmail.com. Funny subject headers will get some love, of course, on PD and J next week. Jay, what do you got? What's your guess?
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
The Bengals defense isn't any better. The Steelers defense isn't any better. I'm going to go right back to the same number. I'm going to go 22. Maybe even Bengals 13, Steelers 9 again. But I'm going right back to 22. And PD and J, we can get the subject headers for you. We may not have the answer because typically Sport Radar doesn't put up the missed tackle stats until Tuesday afternoon.
All right. Well, we'll get to it as soon as we can for you. Either way, I'm going to say, I want to say that what's changed, they've gotten worse. It's not the same. I think it gets worse. And so I'll go that. I'll Price is Right you on this one.
Okay.
23 is my official guess as I try to get a W in that column for myself. Let's wrap it up with prediction. Prediction, what do you got, Jay?
Yeah, so I think that the big thing that Bengal fans have to be concerned about, and this is, yes, this offense is humming, but those last 3 games have all been at home. And this is going to be on the road against a really good Steelers defense. Their Bengals are going to be on the silent count. Steelers defensive line is going to be able to jump the count. Flacco's going to play, but one shot could be all it takes. That shoulder could be all it takes to force Jake Browning into the game. I can't see the Bengals winning this. I'm not going to bank on a Flacco injury. I do think that this is going to be very similar to the last game, not just in missed tackles, but everything. So I'm going to go with the exact same score. I'm going to go 33-31, but this time the Steelers win. The Bengals fall 3 games out of first, and the season is essentially over.
Yeah, I mean, that is the stakes here. I mean, this is a game that if you lose this one, it's time to open up the mock draft simulator and I'll start working on mock off-season sheet. We'll get all the way into that essentially, but I'm not going to rule it out just yet. I am not buying that the Steelers are all of a sudden going to find it. And I do think the Bengals will be able to put up points. Obviously, the Steelers will too. The most shocking thing that could come of this game is that the Steelers don't score 27, which is what every single team does against the Bengals. So I think it's going to have a similar feel. Again, a lot of it's going to go back to that first quarter. And if they don't have the immediate fall behind issue that we've seen, then you could see, oh boy, here, it could get really ugly in a hurry. But I think they keep it close. I think they know how to score against these guys. I think Flacco, for whatever reason, has done an unbelievable job of taking care of the ball. If he can stay healthy and can continue, if we don't get the Flacco turns back into the regression to the mean Flacco that everyone's kind of waiting to see if that's going to happen. If he doesn't, then I think he has the exact skill set to go get a win in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to have the Bengals winning. I'm going to say 30-27. I talked to Evan McPherson just the other day about the turf. There's a Saturday night game.
Oh, yeah. A
big one. Pitt is playing on Saturday night under the lights. And then at 1 o'clock, and this is freshly resodded after it got ripped by the team for being almost unplayable last time. What will that turf look like? He kind of said, I'll go out there before the game and watch them. He's not going to be like watching the Pitt game to see if the kickers are slipping or anything, but you do need to go out there and really investigate just how rough the turf is. But I'm going to say, Evan, with one at the gun, as they say, with a game winner in Pittsburgh, and if the Bengals find a way to keep some semblance of hope alive for this season, for this team, for Joe Burrow.
What have you done with Paul Downer Jr.?
Don't worry, he'll be back on Sunday on the walkout, pretty likely. And when all this goes sideways, very good chance that happens. All right, thanks everybody for watching and hanging out with us here. Of course, we will be in Pittsburgh in a couple of days, bringing you the walkout after the game from Acrisure Stadium with all the wrap-up. Make sure that you check in on that. Make sure you're getting the alerts if you are on the YouTube channel and everything else that comes out of our feed as we keep cranking out the hits all year. It doesn't matter what happens to the Bengals. We're here for you every single time. So thanks, everybody, for watching and for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.